Good afternoon, and my name is Pauline Monga, joined by our sign language interpreters, Chola Kauma and Jason Manda. And just now we have a look at the business of the day for Thursday last week before we look at what is on the order paper for today.
Began by Madam Speaker making an announcement. Madam Speaker recognized the presence in the public gallery of another group of grade 7 pupils from Rhodes Park School in Lusaka district. Madam Speaker, on behalf of the National Assembly of Zambia, warmly welcomed the visitors to the National Assembly.
And after that announcement, this was followed by a ruling rendered by the Honorable Madam Speaker, and she reminded the House that on Wednesday, 21st February 2024, when the House was considering a private member's motion to increase the quantity of farming inputs for farmers under the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP, moved by Mr. J.E. Banda, Member of Parliament for Petauke Central Constituency, and Mr. S. Kampyongo, Member of Parliament for Shiwangandu constituency, was on the floor. Mr. G. Jin Kombo, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, raised a point of order as to whether the House was in order to continue debating a matter which had already been resolved through the report that was moved by the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources on Thursday, 15th February 2024, and stated that the consideration of the motion was on the indictment on the Journals and Table Office and the House.
In rendering her ruling, Madam Speaker referred to the following authorities. The first one, Standing Order 131 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2021. The second one, National Assembly Daily Parliamentary Debates of Tuesday, 27th February 2018. And Standing Order 132-2 of the National Assembly of Zambia, Standing Orders 2021. From the foregoing authorities, Madam Speaker stated that a point of order cannot be raised against the House, but against a member. On that basis, she ruled the point of order raised by Honorable Jin Kombo MP was inadmissible.
And after the ruling, the House went on to consider questions for oral answer number 285 to 288 and 291 to 292 under Standing Order 74. The House also considered questions for oral answer number 289 and 290 under Standing Order 74, and the members being absent, the questions lapsed.
After consideration of those questions, there were presentation of government bills. The first one was presented by the Minister of Justice. This is the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2024, which was read the first time and referred to the Committee on Legal Affairs, Human Rights and Governance for examination. The committee to present its report to the House in due course.
And the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development presented the Matrimonial Causes Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2024, and this bill was referred to the Committee on National Guidance, Gender Matters, National Guidance and Gender Matters for further examinations. The report of the committee will be presented to the House in due course.
The third one was presented by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. This is the Lands Tribunal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, which was also read the first time and referred to the Committee on Agriculture, Lands and Natural Resources for examination. And so the committee is also expected to present its report to the House in due course.
And the Minister of Education presented the Zambia Qualifications Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2024, and this bill was read the first time and referred to the Committee on Education, Science and Technology for further examination. The committee's report will be presented to the House in due course.
After presentation of those bills, the House did adjourn accordingly at 16:17 hours. And so this is just the business that was considered on the floor of the House on Thursday, 7th March 2024. Just now we shift our attention and look at today's order paper.
Yes, Matimba, today, Wednesday, 13th March 2024, the House is expected to consider about 12 questions that are on the order paper. And one of the questions is coming from Kanchuvia, Member of Parliament Mr. Sunday Chanda. He's directed his question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, and in the first part of the question he wants to know whether the government has any plans to install street lights in Kanchivia district, and the second part of the question, if so, when the streets are earmarked for the project, or which streets are earmarked for the project, and when the project will commence, and what the estimated cost of the project is, and if there are no plans, why.
The second question, question number 294, is expected to come from Lufu, Member of Parliament, Mr. Wesley Kolala. He's directing his question to the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He wants to find out whether the government has any plans to construct the following roads. The first one, Mpongwe, Ngawe, Mumbwa, and the second one, Kawe, Ngawe, Kasempa. And in part B, he wants to find out, if so, when the plans will be implemented.
Question 297, coming from Kalabo Central, Member of Parliament. And this question is directed to the Minister of Health. And the first part of the question, Honorable Mr. Mute wants to know how many nutritionists there were in the health facilities countrywide as of July 2023. And part B of the question, at what level a health facility a nutritionist is required, and part C, whether all eligible health facilities had nutritionists as of the date at A, and if not, what the shortfall was, and how effective the nutritionists are, and what measures are being taken to enhance their effectiveness.
Another question is expected to come from Kapoche, Member of Parliament, Mr. Lakson Lungu. He's directing his question to the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. He wants to find out when construction of council offices in Sinda district will commence, what the estimated cost of the project is, and what the time frame for the completion of the project is.
Question number 298 is coming from Nakonde, Member of Parliament, Mr. Simumba, and he wants to find out from the Minister of Education how many teachers were blacklisted for being in possession of forged grade 12 certificates countrywide from 2018 to 2021, year by year. And part B of the question, whether government has any plans to pardon the affected teachers, especially for those that were employed using genuine certificates but later forged certificates to enhance their chances of promotion. And part C, if so, when the affected teachers will be pardoned and given a second chance in life, and part C, if there are no plans, why.
Question 301 is expected to come from Mpika, Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapyanga. He's directing his question to the Minister of Transport and Logistics. He wants to find out when the government will issue title deeds to beneficiaries of the Presidential Housing Empowerment Program who bought houses from Tanzania Zambia Railways Authority in Mpika district. And so those are just some of the questions that are expected to be considered on the floor of the House. Just now we take you to the chamber. Good afternoon.
Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
Tendency of Zambia, proud and free, land of faith and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for our rights. We want freedom's side, oh, and strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those who blend. Let us all our people join as one brother. Purple eagle in its flight, Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, 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 green every sand, under the flag of our land, Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country, and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to make a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Order. Can we have some order, honorable members? There were no indications. That's why I moved. IT, what's happening? Can we do something? It's definitely not me. I didn't see any indication. So we have moved. We can. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me thank you for giving me the opportunity to update the nation through this House on the review of firearms licensing in Zambia. Madam Speaker, in the recent past, the country has witnessed an alarming rise in instances where firearms have been unlawfully discharged in public and private places. Sadly, in some cases, life has been lost. Rarely has a month gone by without the off news of unlawful firearm discharge in a home, nightclub, or other public places. Many communities, especially in high-density areas and rural places, are ravaged almost daily by gun violence that has not made the news headlines. Some individuals have used firearms to take innocent lives in communities after being engaged as contract killers. As if that is not enough, some individuals have taken their own lives using firearms, either legally owned or acquired through other means. These incidents are indelibly etched in our memories and have become toxic and taxing to our law enforcement officers. It is not just the law enforcement officers, Madam Speaker, who should be worrying about guns being in the wrong hands, but every citizen, because everyone at the end of the day is a potential victim. Much as citizens are free to legally own firearms, as provided for by the laws for security reasons, and for licensed game hunting. It is regrettable that some people are abusing these weapons by taking human life. This is unacceptable and must be stopped forthwith. Madam Speaker, we as a nation must act to stem this new tide of violence and the motivation that drives it. We cannot allow the unlawful use of firearms to become routine in our society. I'm optimistic that we have the ability to end this tragic cycle of violence, but it would require us to come together in full agency and honesty through rational firearm safety reforms that will make background checks more efficient and close loopholes. I'm confident we can do just that. Madam Speaker, let me start with a little history of the Firearms Act of 1970, Chapter 110 of the Laws of Zambia, which established the framework for legally prohibiting certain categories of people from possessing firearms. It is an act to make new provision for regulating licenses and certificates and for the control of the import, export, movement, storage, possession, sale, manufacture and repair of firearms and ammunition, and to make provision for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. Madam Speaker, from the time this law was enacted, a lot has changed. Zambia has changed and our firearms laws need to change with it. Unfortunately, no wholesome amendments have been made to the law to make it more comprehensively and effectively respond to new and emerging issues. Passing legislation to expand background checks to nearly every firearm sale, including those conducted through non-traditional platforms and private transfers, remains one of the top priorities for the new Dawn administration firearm safety legislation to save lives. It is time to expand life-saving background checks to every firearm sale in our country. Madam Speaker, the recent shootings have shown the spotlight on our country and the strength of our firearms legal regime. The number of civilians firearms legally registered in Zambia is estimated at around 38,572. The exact number of civilian-owned firearms is impossible to pinpoint because of a variety of factors, including arms that go unregistered, the illegal trade, and regional conflicts. In response to the growing concerns over the alarming rate of firearms ownership and related incidents, the government, through the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, has commenced the review of the Firearms Act. The process has begun with internal review before it can be subjected to consultations with other stakeholders. The House is assured that utmost agency has been attached to the review process. Madam Speaker, I want to also assure the House that despite the unwanted developments observed, the government is committed to maintaining law and order and will do everything within its means to ensure the safety of citizens. Any acts that endanger public safety will be dealt with appropriately. Over the years, government has employed other initiatives aimed at strengthening arms control in the country. The General Firearms Amnesty, for instance, has seen the surrendering of over 6,500 arms for destruction by members of the public since its implementation commenced in 2011. We commend all members of the public who have positively responded to the firearms amnesty call and appeal to many more to surrender their firearms to the Zambia Police Service for appropriate action. Other initiatives employed to reinforce firearms control include enhanced community sensitization on the safe use of firearms and their safe custody. 2, enhanced collaboration with local authorities in the issuance and renewal of firearms licenses. 3, installation of surveillance cameras in hotspot areas to monitor criminal activities. And 4, displaying of visible signage indicating a strict non-firearm policy within certain premises. Madam Speaker, I'm aware that reviewing the law alone cannot completely solve the problem we are confronted with, but it will make a remarkable difference. There is no single answer, but we should be united in our willingness to do what we can do to save lives. As government, we will devote more resources to mental health priorities to identify people who may be about to cause harm to themselves or others. We shall confront this problem from multiple directions. We are not going to raise our arms in the air and give up, neither are we going to take sitting on the sidelines as an option when our citizens are being traumatized. We shall never surrender to the false logic that the problem is too big to address, because that falls short of what the Zambian people deserve. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement given by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. The Honorable Member for Shiwangando.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I don't know if, with your indulgence, I would allow me to raise my matter of urgent public importance before I pose the follow-up question on the Honorable Minister.
No, Honorable Member, we have already gone beyond that item. So now the matters of urgent public importance have already passed. We are now on the ministerial statement. So may the Honorable Member for Shiwangando ask a point of clarification on the statement that has just been rendered by the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Most appreciated, Madam Speaker, but our ICT personnel must take judicial notice that they shouldn't deprive us of our privilege on this segment. Honorable Minister, we appreciate the statement you have issued, and indeed what is obtaining is alarming and a threat to our innocent citizens. Mine is just to find out where investigations have pointed, because whilst on the issue of issuance of licenses is the responsibility of the Zambia Police Service, you have got renewals under local authorities, and on the other hand, you have got merchants in firearms who are licensed to trade in firearms and ammunition, who carry a very serious responsibility other than just making profits from that trade. Now, you highlighted an issue of mental health as one of those issues we are looking into. When you do an analysis from the investigations that are being undertaken, there could be some pointers, because at the point of renewal of other licenses, there should be mechanisms to assess the suitability of an individual to continue possessing a firearm. Where would be the weakness be, Honorable Minister, looking at the instances that have occurred, and that doesn't leave some of our law enforcement officers who have equally been caught up in these instances of discharging firearms, which have resulted in 2 serious casualties, including themselves taking their own lives. I would like to just hear from you where you see a loophole and the weakness. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Kampyongo, MP for Shwangandu, for that very important question. As I did allude to my statement when I was addressing the House, Madam Speaker, I did mention that we have noticed that the law currently is not adequate to address a number of factors that lead to unlawful acquisition of firearms, unlawful use of firearms. Hence our determination to ensure that laws are amended so that we ensure that there are background checks on those who are applying for gun licenses, something which was not being done, Madam Speaker. What has been going on currently is that you just go to the police, they get your fingerprints, and if they're in the database, there's no evidence of you having been involved in a criminal offense, they'll give you the license. That is not enough. Most of the criminal information pertaining to criminals in this country are not in our database. Most of the criminals have not been captured in our database, Madam Speaker. So it will not be enough just to rely on the fingerprints. As I did allude to, I have indicated that there are already measures we have taken to ensure we control ownership of guns in this country. You may have heard that a month ago, I did suspend the issuance of licenses, which were already approved by the licensing committee, because we realized that there was an omission which we wanted to address. And we are going to do that by ensuring that we come up with a comprehensive law which will ensure that there is a background check on all those who are applying for guns in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Petauke Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving the good people of Petauke this opportunity to ask a follow-up question, though the indication was on the matter of urgent public importance. So to the IT,
the Honorable Member for Petauke Central, we have already discussed that issue. Please, if you don't have a question or a point that you want to raise as a matter of clarification, you can skip. We can go to another honorable member. So ask your point of clarification, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for your guidance. The question to the Minister of Home Affairs. Minister of Home Affairs, there are some people like businessmen, even politicians, even other people who were on the queue waiting for those licenses. And those firearms which they applied just for their security. You know, a lot of things happened. Now, don't you think that by suspending, you are making them to be at risk? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have not cancelled the applications that were submitted to our office. We have merely suspended so that we do a diligent search on the background of those who have applied for licenses. Madam Speaker, I also want to inform this House that some of those applications, Madam Speaker, which were being considered by my ministry, were submitted more than 15 years ago, such that some of the applicants have died, others have changed, the residential addresses, and even their status. So it was found prudent on our part that we suspend, we re-interview those people who were applying for licenses so that we can establish who they are and whether they are fit to own guns. We do not want to expose anybody to danger, but we are just being prudent.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Pambashe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we've heard the Minister allegedly apportioning blame on private citizens, but of late, we've known of officers who are supposed to protect property and preserve life, be involved in criminal activities and using state-acquired firearms. Minister, what are you doing to extend to our good men and women in uniform who could have fallen prey to this very embarrassing situation that is prevailing currently in the country? As you may be aware, just last week or so, the incident at Longacres, where 3 police officers, a paramilitary police officer from and the Remasdale, colluded with the private citizen and robbed off a Chinese in excess of
The Honorable Member for Pambashe, when you say colluded, I don't know, do you have any proof that these people colluded?
Because all of them were arrested as we are speaking. He knows the minister.
Maybe the use of the word collusion.
Okay,
because
maybe
we have no proof that they did collude.
It is alleged.
Yes, better.
It is alleged that they colluded and both of them were arrested, the 3 police officers and the 3 private citizens. And what are we doing to help build confidence in our security wings by the general public so that when they see an officer with a gun, they don't start thinking they are not safe? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to state, without fear of any contradiction, that the issue that has been raised by Honorable Chitotela, MP from Pambashe, is historical. You may realize that in the past, we never used to check who were being employed in the security wings. A number of rogue elements were employed in these security elements. And it is therefore incumbent upon all of us to ensure that even when we are employing security officials, a background check is done so that we don't include criminal elements in the security wings. I admit there are some bad elements who are already in the system, and we are doing everything possible to reorient the officers who are currently serving. And we are taking some of them back for training. And if we find that actually individuals are not trainable, we'll lay them off. Don't complain. Because some of these, not characters, officers, are bad elements. And they are tarnishing the good image of security wings. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lubanseshi.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this great opportunity to ask a follow-up question. Honorable Minister, issue of sensitization on the acquisition of the firearms is really critical, especially here in Zambia, where we have different views towards especially elections. I would like to find out from you, what measures have you put in place to ensure that as you are trying to interrogate and put things in the right perspective, issue of sensitization to the communities on the acquisition of the same firearms, and at the same time, even training those who be the licensing holders are really fully understand what they're supposed to do when they have given these licenses. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to inform the House that we have been sensitized members of the public pertaining to legal ownership of guns in this country. You do recall that we are making amnesties available to members of the public pertaining to those who are illegally owning arms. And in that process, we were educating members of the public to acquire guns legally. And I did mention that a number of our citizens positively responded to our call. That is why more than 6,000 guns were surrendered to the state because of the education which we have been conducting. However, we have noticed, and you recall even when the president came to this house, he did mention that we need to urgently review the laws pertaining to ownership of guns. And that is why we have started the review of the process of amending the law. And we will consult widely with stakeholders in this country so that we come up with a law that caters for all the concerns that are being expressed by members of this august House.
Honorable Member for Chama North, are you visiting or you are just making rounds? Honorable members, our rules are very clear. When a member comes late, first of all, we have to come in time before the presiding officer takes a seat. In the event that an honorable member comes late, you are supposed to come in quietly, take the shortest way to your seat than what we have just observed from the honorable member for Chama North. That is in total breach of our rules, the rules that we set for ourselves. Please, let's try to be compliant. The honorable member for Luena.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The people of Luena would like to take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to congratulate you on your being bestowed with the prestigious title of State Council. Congratulations. Honorable Minister, in the past, especially during by-elections, we saw videos and pictures of individuals displaying firearms in order to instill fear in their political opponents. Has your ministry ensured that all those guns, most likely unlicensed, have been retrieved and accounted for in order to reduce the risk that firearms pose in the society, as you have just alluded to in your statement? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before I respond to the question raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Luena, I want to tell him that we are together this afternoon when we are bestowed with the honor. Why is he not also congratulating me?
So, Honorable...
That was on a light
No,
note,
it's true. Honorable Member for Luena, we were together. Actually, there were 5 of us. 3 ladies and 2 gentlemen. The one of the gentlemen was Honorable Minister for Home Affairs and Internal Security. So please, you should also congratulate him. Although I come from your constituents. May the Honorable Minister continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That was on a light note. Madam Speaker, I just want to assure my colleague that the police have been investigating all matters that were involving individuals who were brandishing arms in public or discharging. Some of them have been arrested and guns have been recovered, but it's a process that is continuing, and we ensure that all those who were involved are brought to book.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. May I also be the second person to rightfully congratulate you, Right Honorable Madam Speaker, now State Council, on your installation of that new title, and also congratulate Honorable Jack Mwimbu, now State Council, and the other colleagues who we have not been informed of. So congratulations, Honorable Minister. Madam Speaker, through you to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. In our communities, Hagarova, all the way to Dundumwezi Chikanta direction, and also recently in Mbabara, communities in Mawe area, the people who have been terrorizing our colleagues use muzzle loaders. These are guns made in the villages, and there are rumors of some people who make them, but we may not really know them. And now I hear about the new review, which involves background checks to people acquiring firearms. What action is being taken to, as you review the law, for the people who are actually maiming or killing or instilling fear in many others in rural areas where they use muzzle loaders? I seek your response, Honorable Minister. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, tagging on the issue that has been raised by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Mbavala, I want to state that the scourge that is currently obtaining in Mbavala is now all over the country. You may have heard so many of our people losing lives on suspicion of being witches or being involved in witchcraft. And they hire contractual killers to kill innocent people in various localities. Madam Speaker, unfortunately, there's a code of silence on the part of relatives of the victims. Usually, the people who have been killed as a result of contract killers being hired by relatives. And when the police go in to investigate in these rural areas, members of the public, members of the family are not cooperating. But we are doing everything possible to ensure that the culprits are brought to book. Initially, this issue of ritual killers was prevalent in Western Province, but it has now spread all over. It's throughout the country. And most of the guns that are being used, Madam Speaker, are illegal firearms. They are not even muzzle loaders. These are sophisticated weapons, AK-47, pistols, and so forth, which are being used to kill our innocent people. I just want to appeal to members of the public and ourselves to ensure that we advise members of the public that it does not pay to allow contractual killers to reign supreme in our areas. In certain areas, even traditional leaders are involved. They will work together with the so-called witch-finders to come in the area. When a person is identified, a contractual killer is engaged. A lot of our people have lost their lives, especially if you become elderly. In the rural areas, you become a suspect. We have lost a lot of people. The numbers are alarming, colleagues. They are alarming. And when you check whether that person who was killed was actually a wizard or a witch, you find that they were just innocent persons. So please, let's work together to ensure that this scourge is eradicated.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations. I don't know, I think, are you the first State Council female in Zambia? I'm not too sure. I never used to live here. Congratulations. And
we can't engage in a discussion. You can come to my chambers. We can have a chat.
Okay. And congratulations, Honorable Minister for Home Affairs. But it's not fair that you don't invite your former left-hand side colleagues like myself to such celebrations. You owe me for that. Madam Speaker. but he's been faithful to his party. Madam Speaker, through you, I would like to find out from the minister, we are talking about abusers of these firearms. There's a time I stood up here when the Minister of Tourism was talking about giving members of parliament licenses to be game rangers. I spoke about mental status, to check the mental status, and everyone laughed at me. Now, what I want to ask from the minister is, if we look at the statistics, Honorable Minister, who are, I would say the majority, or those numbers that should say the abusers, is it the females or male? Because we're looking at those that should be employed in the security wings. Who are most culprits who abuse guns in our country? Because it's very important that we know, and also we know how the government is going to handle this. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security will add another 10 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the majority of those who have abused guns in this country are not security officials. But I can admit that a number of our security officers have also abused. But we will also be doing background checks on officers before they are employed and before they have access to guns, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kabwata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I also take this opportunity to congratulate you, together with the Minister, for having attained the status of State Council. Honorable Minister, I think the issue of private citizens acquiring illegal guns, we saw it rapidly, especially in our communities when it came to political cadres. We ended up actually losing many lives because of cadres carrying guns. In the next 2 years, Zambia will be heading for a general election. I wanted to find out from you, what measures have you put up in place so that we do not see the rebirth of a gun culture in this country?
Thank you. Before the Honorable Minister comes on, the Honorable Member for Chiengi, you have indicated for a point of order. What's the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Actually, it's just that the Minister, I think, didn't get my question. I want the statistics. Is it the females or male, if there is a word male, abusers of these firearms? That was the question.
Okay, thank you very much. As the Minister answers the question by the Honorable Member for Kabwata, he is also going to address the one by the Honorable Member for Chiengi. Thank you.
My sincere apologies, Honorable Member for Chiengi, for the omission on my part when answering your question. Most of the incidences of abuse of firearms relate to the male folk. However, the female folk also have been involved in a number of fatal shootings. So both genders are attributed to this rise in abuse of guns, but the male folk is predominant. On the issue that has been raised by the Honorable Member for Kabwata, I want to state that our President has been very categorical that anyone who will be found wanting, abusing the law, abusing others in this country, will be on their own. And we've been emphasizing that cadres must respect the law. We are aware, Madam Speaker, maybe I should take this opportunity to make this statement, that we have observed of late some truant party cadres who are taking the law in their own hands, abusing members of the public. Let it be known that the long arm of the law will catch up with those individuals. We will not want to go back to gun culture and lawlessness in this country. Members of the public currently are enjoying peace and stability. We will not want and will not condone lawlessness, whether the cadres are from the ruling party or the opposition. We will not allow that. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Member for Chawama, I don't know who has given you the floor. You have not even indicated, so please, if you want to speak, you do indicate. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Allow me also to join the chorus, Madam Speaker, of congratulating you and the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security on your achievement. Madam Speaker, I want to find out from the Honorable Minister. Previously, Honorable Minister, we could see very prominent people displaying over 5, 8 various firearms as though they own armories in their homes. As you are looking at this amendment of the Act, are you looking at how many firearms an individual can own, or could you state as to what the law states in terms of ownership of firearms per individual? Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Member for Ron, that is one of the issues we'll be looking into. We'll be expecting submissions from colleagues here and members of the public pertaining to ownership of guns. This gun culture is not only afflicting Zambia. You have noticed that even in the United States of America, everyone is discussing the gun culture. Lives are being lost, and countries are now reviewing laws so that there are restrictions pertaining to ownership of guns. We will definitely take into account the proposal you are making. We are also aware of those individuals who are displaying arms in public. We are following up a number of them. Some of the guns have already been retrieved from them. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kwacha.
I appreciate, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity given to ask a follow-up question to the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And obviously, congratulations are well-deserved to you, both to you and the Minister of Home Affairs on the new title that has been bestowed on you. Honorable Minister, I would like to know the estimated number of Zambian citizens who might have been killed or who might have lost their lives from the violence acts from gunshot, as it were. And what action has government taken so far against the perpetrators of such acts in terms of law and order? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister, let me not answer for you.
Madam Speaker, unfortunately, I'm not able to answer that question. It's a completely new question. If my colleague wants, an answer to the issue that is being raised, it's a very important matter. He can put in a question and we'll be able to respond.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chipili.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I want to find out, since you have suspended the insurance of the firearms, have you touched the time frame when these people who are on the list would expect to conclude your program? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
I appreciate the anxiety, Madam Speaker, but I can assure my honorable colleague that it will be very, very soon.
The Honorable Member from Msanzala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for the answers given. Mine, Madam Speaker, through you, I would like to find out from Minister, are you in talking terms with your fellow Minister of Tourism? Because some of these bad cultures of guns are even under Zawa and Game Scout. In my constituency, a lot of people have been shot dead by Zawa instead of apprehending those guys, but they tend to shoot them. Have you taken time to sit down with your counterpart in the other ministry so that you control this gun culture together, so that we don't come and do another law for the game scout? Madam Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, we do collaborate with the Minister of Tourism, and we can assure you that a number of wild staff officers who abuse their guns have been arrested, others have been convicted. So we do collaborate, and we do not even condone the usage of firearms illegally by wildlife officers. We have been advising them, we have been encouraging them on how to use guns legally.
Thank you. The last one, the Honorable Member from Pika is not there. That concludes that segment. We go to the next item, questions for oral answer. Understanding Order 74. The Honorable Member for Kanchibia.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations once again to yourself and the Minister of Justice. Question number 293. The Minister of Home Affairs. Of course, he's a lawyer. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam. Let me also join those who spoke before me in giving a hearty congratulations to you, Madam, and also my brother-in-law, the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, for attaining a distinct position in your career. Mr. Chanda, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kanchivia constituency, is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, whether the government has any plans to install street lights in Kanchivia parliamentary constituency and district. At B, he wishes to know which streets are earmarked for the project. At C, he wants to know when the project will commence. At D, he wants to know the estimated costs for the project. And at C, he wishes also to know that if there are no plans, why? Our response: the government, through the local authority or the council, has plans to install street lights in Kanchivia district. At B, the council plans to work on the stretch from the civic center building to Walyamande village and at Chalawesa junction along the Kasama-Mpika road. The works will commence only when the local authority secures funds for this project. The council has not yet provided the cost estimate for the ministry, and therefore at E, the plans are there and E therefore falls out. I thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Madam Speaker, thank you, and Honorable Minister, thank you so much for the response. One of the reasons why we asked this question is because of our concerns around security. Being a new district and with a lot of public resources as well as private resources getting into Kanchivia, we have realized that thieves have also not spared us. And mostly the crimes are happening at night because they take advantage that there's no street lighting whatsoever. And so that is what informs a sense of urgency. The people of Kanchivia would therefore wish to know whether or not these resources can be mobilized within this calendar year. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you heard me in my maiden answer, I was clear to say that the local authority is the organ that must instigate this particular project by first costing the said street lights. I wish to also to say to the colleague that now the Constituency Development Fund, which recognizes the area of his concern and that of security, because most criminal activities happen in the hours of darkness, it is true that this must be given priority. And therefore, if the honorable member wishes for this to happen right away, I would request that they look into the Constituency Development Fund by engaging the WDCs to have a deep appreciation of the issue at hand, that being the security issue. So it begins with the plans by the local authority themselves, such as what many councils have done, including the council that I'm privileged to belong to, Mazabuga Municipal Council. We have managed ourselves to get street lights from the Constituency Development Fund.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, congratulations to you and the Minister of Home Affairs for that milestone achievement. I wanted to ask the question that the Minister has just answered, utilization of the CDF. Since he has answered, let it pass, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I thank you, Honorable Minister, for the response. Maybe for purposes of placing it on record, we have used part of the Constituency Development Fund to construct a police station which is still under construction because we need to do the juvenile cells, we need to do accommodation for the officers. So as a district that is just starting, we are left with no option but to run to central government for this particular project. Madam Speaker, I thank you. So that is the appeal that we are making to the Honourable Minister, that yes, we do have an option to use the CDF, but then our resources are exhausted as we speak. In terms of security, we have used part of the funds to start attending to the security concerns, but lighting is basically outside of what we have within the CDF envelope. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Before the Honorable Minister comes on, the Honorable Member for Chiengi, what's the point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The point of order I'm raising is on the Minister of Home Affairs. Is in order to remain quiet when a police officer was beaten by a civilian in that manner, and he remains quiet because the nation will be very much interested to know. Otherwise, other civilians will take on beating the men and women in uniform. It was so bad, Madam Speaker. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Chieng, you have not even referred to any standing order. And that matter you are raising, I didn't see any police officer beating anyone on the floor of this House. So it does not qualify to be raised as a point of order. May the Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development answer the question from the Honorable Member for Kanchivia.
Thank you very much. Madam, in realizing that Kanchivia is indeed one of the newest districts that we have in our country, we have established the Department or Directorate of Rural Development in my ministry. And as we did in the case where we needed crossing points like in Chama North, like in Kaoma, we invite you, Honorable Member, to come to the office so we can sit together and see whether or not we could take Kanchivia as a case that requires urgent requirement and see if we can find some resource in order for us to get this project started.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Lufuvu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. May I begin by wishing you a happy Women's Day, though it is past. And also to congratulate you. It is good. At least we have another state council in that seat.
So, honorable members, it's a month for women. So the whole of March, you can continue wishing us a happy Women's Day. It's okay. May the honorable member for Lufuvu continue.
Never mind, Madam Speaker. They need also to be heard. Question 294.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I'll be failing my duty as Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development if I do not add my words to the many that have congratulated you and also the Honorable Minister for Home Affairs and Internal Security on your very significant achievement of being appointed as state councils. We are very happy as a House that you have achieved this. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Lufuvu, Honorable Mr. Kolala, is asking the Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, A, whether the government has any plans to construct the following roads. That's 1, Mpongwe, Ngabwe, Mumbwa, and 2, Kabwe, Ngabwe, Kasempa. We answer as follows, Madam Speaker. To A and 1, the government has plans to construct the Mpongwe, Ngabwe, Mumbwa Road and the Kabwe, Ngabwe, Kasempa Road. B, works on the Mpongwe, Ngabwe, Mumbwa Road will be undertaken once the Treasury secures the required resources. Works on the Kabwe, Ngabwe Road are currently ongoing under force account. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Lufuvu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, these are the roads that will be done when Treasury secures the money. Honorable Minister, is it there in the 8th National Development Plan?
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Madam Speaker, I wonder whether the Honorable Member of Parliament has indeed read the 8th National Development Plan. Because if he had, he would find out that there is no stipulation of roads that are to be done. However, let me give him a bit of information and also to remind him that I think he has been engaging with the ministry, especially myself as minister, in the priority settings of all the roads that he has talked about. The one that is foremost is Kabwe Ngabwe, which is about 125 kilometers. That, as soon as resources are made available, we will start on that particular road. However, before that, this particular road is being executed by the Road Development Agency using force account at a cost of about 11 million kwacha. These works commenced in July 2023, and the overall progress starts at 20%. The works were suspended to wait for the end of the rain season, which is end of March 2024. And in the meantime, CDF undertook improvements, government through CDF undertook improvement works on the 30-kilometer stretch of the road within Ngawe district. These works commenced on December 2022 and were completed November 2023. The scope of the works included 30 kilometers formation work, 20 kilometers graveling works, and the installation of drainage structures. The works are undertaken at a cost of 8.1 million kwacha. Government will endeavor to ensure that the Mpongwe, Ngawe, Mumbwa, and the Ngawe Kasempa roads are in a motorable condition as major works are being awaited. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Ron.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, once more. Honorable Minister, you sit on the Council of Ministers that looks at PPP, and the Mpongwe, Ngawe, Mumbwa road could be a commercial road. And not only that, Minister, it could be a route that would decongest Ndola, Kawe, Lusaka road. Is your ministry, or rather the Council of Ministers, not looking at subjecting this particular stretch to the PPP model? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Member for Ron for that question. It gives me an opportunity to state that in as far as the PPP model of financing for road construction, all roads in this country are available for PPP model of financing. And the quickest way is to get interested potential concessionaires to put in what we are calling an unsolicited bid on any road anywhere in the country. Having said that, it will be realized that potential concessionaires or private parties, before they express interest in any road, they will have done some work to determine whether they can make their money at a profit. And that is why you see that a number of roads are not attracting concessionaires. We can't force them. The numbers in terms of traffic volumes, both existing and the potential, are the ones that determine whether concessionaires can express interest on any of those. But my challenge to all of us in this House, because we represent various constituencies where these roads are, if we are aware of any potential concessionaire or private party that are interested in any road in this country, in your constituencies and elsewhere, please come forward, bring them to our offices so that we can engage. We would like as many roads as possible undertaken through PPP. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We can make progress. The next question, Honorable Member for Kapoche.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 295. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Madam, thank you very much. Mr. Lungu, the Honorable MP for Kapoche is asking the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development at A, when the construction of council offices in Sinda district will commence. At B, he wants to know what the estimated cost for the project is. And at C, he wants to know what the time frame for the completion of this project is. Our response: the construction of the council offices in Sinda district, which was terminated in 2023, will resume once the projects that are 80% and above are completed in line with the government policy. At B, the estimated cost of the project will be established upon the contracting of the outstanding works. At C, the time frame for this project to be completed will also be determined and established upon the contracting of the outstanding works. Madam, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? Honorable Member for Kapoche, do you have any?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me join the other honorable members to congratulate you and your counterpart for your achievement, success. I want to give a short background for the Sinda district. Minister, you may wish to know that the building which our officers are occupying, it used to be WDC for Petauke, then when it used to be under Petauke. And as I'm talking now, Minister, these people who are, they are looking at a huge amount of money for CDF. Some of them, they are operating in a container. And it's so worrying that these rented people, today I just got a message that 3, if not 4, they didn't even report for work because they are through. My question to you, Honorable Minister, is do you have any short-term or medium measures so that these people, they can be motivated so that they can work to the expectant of our people in Kapoche? Because a lot of projects are being delayed because most of them, they don't have that motivation to report for work, looking at the environment in which they are working into. I submit, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much for what I think is a very important question, although admittedly the colleague was not speaking into the microphone, so most of the submission I couldn't pick. But what I think I picked was he was emphasizing the fact that workers are demotivated because they have to cover distance. I heard the word petauke. If that is the case, I do sympathize. Honorable Member, the government policy to discontinue all projects that were below 80% was made back in the year 2013. And it was a reasonable decision because at the time when most of these constructions began, the government then was not fully alive to the fact that there's an Appropriation Act or law that ring-fenced expenditure. So we found ourselves in a situation as a country where there was things going on everywhere and they couldn't be completed because money was depleted. Now, if you talk to your colleague from Kanchiwia constituency, one of the things that he did the moment they established, again from the Constituency Development Fund, is that they established a fully fledged civic center at Kanchiwia. I urge you, sir, that whereas we are supposed to provide money from the central government, if this is taking a toll on your workforce, that they are demotivated, probably we can look into that direction and see if we can get the same objective achieved. Because remember, CDF, Equalization Fund, or is GRZ money. So maybe we can again sit at the office. I'm giving an open invitation so that we can have a discussion and have a deeper appreciation of the situation at hand.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Sazala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for those answers. I just wanted to find out, Minister, that how are the people of Sinda going to be helped, since you are saying the funds, when funds will be made available, Now you have even invited the MP to sit down with you, maybe to find a solution. I would like also maybe to chip in on how best is it going to be done, because this was under contract and the contract was terminated. And how are you going to help the people of Nsinda? As we are also waiting, because we are hoping to say those at 80%, if they are completed, then as new councils also, we can receive the same facilities. How soon do you intend to do this? Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Member from Sanzala, for also stating in a very clever manner that you also need a civic center in Lusangazi. Madam, without taking the risk of speaking about those people who may not be here, it should be understood that my immediate past predecessor was actually coming from Kapoche, where the MP who asked this question comes from. He was the minister who was sitting where I sit today. What my plea is to my dear colleagues is that how soon, I answered already, I said as and when funds are made available. And as and when is how soon this can happen. Remember, we cannot share nothing. We have to first generate the money. We have to deal with the immediate challenges that we have that point at, number one, the debt mountain that we have to deal with as a country. And until we get to a point where the resources are a bit freed, I'm afraid we'll have to live with this dire situation. But what should be the consolation is that the plans are there, and the civic center in Sinda, believe me, is not the only civic center that is not complete. If you go to Chilenje, just across here, and Kawata, and Matero, here in Lusaka, these buildings were started and they are not yet complete. So do not feel lonely about it. We are quite systematic in the manner that we intend to deal with this, and we don't want to run this country as if we are switching off fires.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kasanengwa. I hope you don't need a civic center also. What is your supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and congratulations for the achievements together with Home Affairs Minister. You read my mind, Madam Speaker. We do, though I'm not asking for Kasenengwa. Through you, Madam Speaker, I needed a serious clarification from the Minister of Local Government, because I know that there's been so many districts that have been created, and most of them are just squatting. And in one of his responses, he referred to Kanchivia, going by what they did, perhaps with a part of the CDF and so on. Now, the thing is that each constituency has got its own priorities and problems, and there is a lot of expectation from people. So my question to you, Honorable Minister of Local Government, is, are you encouraging local councils or constituencies to also dip into the CDF and construct offices for civic centers or local government offices, or you'd rather encourage them to wait for funding from central government? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Local Government and Rural Development.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I'm very sure about in my mind right now is that if this issue of the civic center in Kapoche or Sinda was not an urgent one, it would not have been on the order book as a question. So I take it that it is a matter that is bothering the representative of that region. Madam, I will use yourself, respectfully so, as the speaker who said to me, could you consider to build constituency offices from the CDF? And I said, I'll take this matter to my office and it will go to cabinet. I want us to be reminded, all of us here, that we are part of the community. And in the case of the local authority, those are the fathers of each given jurisdiction. Why would they, and they form part of the community, why would they then exempt themselves from benefiting from the Constituency Development Fund? We have started building state-of-the-art chiefs' palaces, our Royal Highnesses, the traditional leaders. Why would you be exempted if that is your priority, to build a civic center? I think that provides the answer, that you are part of the community as a council, and if that is your number one priority, we'll have to grant you your wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kapoche.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's not really a question, but it's just a comment. Honorable Minister, we appreciate the CDF that you have given us as people of Kapoche, such that we have done things that we didn't expect that they can be done. What I would want to maybe say is that as you are stating questions or as you are giving out questions, you should be aware that as Kapoche, we have a lot of challenges in our constituency, and CDF alone cannot do all the challenges. Such that no wonder why when our people are complaining out there, they do relay messages to us to come and speak on the floor. You should know that they are having these challenges. If we are not talking about these challenges, you as a minister, you are not going to know what we are going through. So for such, you should at least in the near future, find a solutions for these problems. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the Honorable Minister has taken note. Or do you want to say something, Honorable Minister?
Yes, I think it's important that I say something, Madam, to the Honorable colleague, by making first understand that before I was a minister, I was an MP. And because of that, I do appreciate and understand the competing needs that our people bring before us. I fully understand. And so you are speaking to the converted, preaching a hard sermon to the converted, Honorable Member of Parliament. But I think it's important that we also get to understand that this fiscal decentralization, the movement of money from the center here in Osaka to the districts, was in itself responding to the fact that we must, as less as possible, run to central government to go and ask for money, because this money has been offloaded to the district and sub-district level. Honorable Member, when I was a Member of Parliament, for the greatest part of my political career, the CDF was somewhere in the region of 80 million before we rebased the money, which was 80,000 today. And at the time when we took office, it was sitting, be reminded, at 1.6 million kwacha only. And so I also appreciate your compliment that CDF is doing a lot for our people. We need more MPs like you who can make it very, very abundantly clear that this fund, in the manner that it has now been put across to our citizens, is transforming our people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Question number 296. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and National Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Honorable Herbert Mapani, Member of Parliament for Namwala constituency, asked the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to construct a police post in Chief Muchila's chiefdom in Namwala district so as to, among others, reduce cases of cattle rustling. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. And C, if there are no such plans, what immediate measures are being taken to contain cattle rustling and generally maintain security in the area? Madam Speaker, in responding to the questions asked by the Honourable Member of Parliament, I wish to inform the House as follows. A, the government has plans to construct a police post in Chief Muchila's chiefdom in Namwala district so as to, among others, reduce cases of cattle rustling. Plans to construct a police post in the area have also been necessitated by the increased population in the area. In the interim, to maintain law and order, the area is being serviced by Namwala Police Station and Nico Police Post in collaboration with community crime prevention units. B, the implementation process will commence as soon as the Constituency Development Fund Committee approves the project. The project is being appraised by the committee. C, the government has plans to construct a police post in Chief Muchila's chiefdom to contain cattle rustling and generally maintain security in the area. The community has community crime prevention unit officers who are working in collaboration with officers at Namwala Police Station and Nico Police Post. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wanted to find out whether, currently looking at the prevailing situation, it's still okay for the Minister to ensure that we deploy the PALA or the mobile police officers so that at least whilst we are waiting for that project to take off, the people of Namwala can as well be secured. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honourable Member, we will assess the situation, whether the situation will warrant the deployment of paramilitary officers in the area.
The Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Namwala is our good neighbor, but sometimes also houses some of the wrong people. The nature of cattle thieves is that they move, they steal cattle and other livestock from our area in Mbabala, especially Kabanze, Mayobo area, and other parts of Mbabala, and they go into Namwala and they pass on, and those ones come back. Could the Minister elaborate as to how many police officers he plans to put at that police post in Muchira? Thank you. In order to curb cattle rustling in the area.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Madam Speaker, it will depend on the type of police post that the Constituency Development Fund Committee is considering, and also the number of houses that will be constructed at this particular police station.
Honorable Member for Namwala, you are satisfied? Honorable Member?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Oh, then your neighbor wants to assist. The Honorable Member for Kabushi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for an opportunity. Honorable Minister, Namwala is one of the vast constituencies in Southern Province. Do you have any plans to procure another police vehicle for them? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
That's a new question altogether. You can put in another question. We can make progress. The next question, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, why can't the Kalabo people appreciate the bestowing of State Council to the former Defense Council of the people of Karao. Question number 297.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And also extend to the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs. We were in the same legal team. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow me to join the rest of the members who have congratulated you. A well-deserved recognition, and all the others that have been recognized with you. You make us proud. May God give you long more years to live. Thank you. Mr. Miotu is asking the Minister of Health how many nutritionists there were in health facilities countrywide as of July 2023. B, at what level of a health facility a nutritionist is required. C, whether all eligible health facilities had nutritionists. D, if not, what the shortfall was as of July 2023. E, how effective the nutritionists are. And F, what measures are being taken to enhance their effectiveness. Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. As at July 2023, there were 696 nutrition cadres in various facilities countrywide. These include nutritionists, dietitians, and nutrition technologists. To B, question B, Madam Speaker, currently the Ministry of Health structure provides for the nutrition cadre at the following levels of care. A, health center. B, first level hospital. C, second level hospital. D, third level hospital. E, district health offices. F, provincial health offices. And G, Ministry of Health headquarters. Regarding question C, Madam Speaker, I wish to state that not all eligible facilities have nutrition cadres available. Regarding D, Madam Speaker, regarding question D, Madam Speaker, 1,805 is the total number on the establishment for nutrition cadre, but 696 positions have been filled, leaving a shortfall of 1,109 positions as at July 2023. Regarding question E, Madam Speaker, nutritionists play a crucial role in promoting health and managing various health conditions. Nutritionists address nutritional needs in people with specific medical issues such as hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and food sensitivities. Nutritionists help clients identify destructive eating habits and implement a healthier dietary plan. They are also key for growth monitoring progress in children under 5 years. Regarding the last part of the question, F, Madam Speaker, a number of measures are being put in place to enhance the effectiveness of nutritionists, and these include, but not limited to, the following. 1, strengthening of training programs in clinical nutrition, dietetics, and public health nutrition. 2, designing bridge-up courses for in-service staff to upgrade their skills as well. Lastly, though not the least, setting up skills laboratory with all necessary nutrition equipment. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions, the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the available number of nutritionists is worrying. 696 only occupied position compared to the vastness of the country. However, why is it that a district can exist without a nutritionist or a dietitian? How possible that a district which is as old as Zambia can exist without a nutritionist or a dietitian? How possible is that? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member has not indicated as to which district he is referring to.
The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, my question was covering the whole country, so I can specify. There's no mention of nutritionist or dietitian in Kalabo. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as you have seen, the number is far below the number of establishments that or facilities that the country has. So it is possible that Kalabo could be among those unfortunate districts that may not be having a nutrition, except to say that at a time when we took office, the number was less than 400. And in the last 2 years, we have tried to up the numbers to 600. So we are hoping that this year, under the 4,000 to be recruited this year, we hope that a number of districts, especially in the Western Province that seem to be doing very badly in terms of the health sector, will be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kabata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, I just wanted to find out whether the mandate for nutritionists and dietitians can be extended also right into communities, because we still do have cases of malnutrition in our communities. Is it possible if the mandate can be extended right into the communities?
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I actually take note of that and tend to agree with the question by the MP for Kabwata, because now that we are decentralizing public primary health care, there are certain functions that are being given to local authorities and the local Ministry of Local Government, and nutrition is one such that should really be given to local councils, looking at, first of all, it is one of those issues that really can do well at the district level and not just at the health facility level, but at the health post level. So in our new structure, we will take that into account. Thank you very much, Honourable Member, for that follow-up question.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want the Minister to comment over the lacking of nutritionists or dietitian vis-a-vis the myths in the villages. Myth. The Honourable Member for Sinazongo was saying meat, maybe he wants to eat meat. That lacking nutritionists or dietitian in our communities will increase on the belief of some myths which are detrimental to the health of our people. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Health. Would this extend, Honorable Member for Kalabo Central, to what is called Malili? Okay, Malili. Maybe you can say it in English, what Malili means.
What the Honorable Madam Speaker is saying is this condition where a child is born and because of poor nutrition, there's no provision of the necessary elements, this child fails to grow healthily. Then we say malili. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
In other words, it means that the parents must have been meeting while the child is still small. That is the belief. I'm just explaining, that's the myth. The Honorable Minister of Health.
I see. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this question is a very important question as it relates really to the issue of nutrition, especially for young children. And looking at our times now where we have kind of, lost our, traditional foods, even in the villages where they prefer buying takeaways and they think takeaways is the best meal. And also a number of our modern girls now who don't believe in, adding groundnuts to vegetables or, drying up vegetables during difficult times so that one can cook that to have a balanced meal for our children. The need for nutritionists becomes even more important. And this is why I want to say and agree that there will be need for us in government to actually not just increase the number of nutritionists in health centers, but also to ensure that even at the health post level, we can have those. Because the job of teaching people what to cook, how to cook, what to eat in terms of balancing of meals is very important in the communities, much more than at the high-level hospitals. So all I can say for now is that I've taken note and I appreciate the concern, and that as government will do everything possible to ensure that key cadres, because one of the challenges we face in the health sector is that we all know about doctors, we all know and believe and respect our nurses, but we don't seem to pay attention to other cadres in the health sector who are equally very, very important if we have to give a complete quality health service to our people. So I've taken note, and we shall, in this recruitment this year, take that into account to ensure that we send somebody in Kalabo, because those are the provinces where also we have issues when it comes to food diet because of maybe low agricultural support. And so we shall make sure that we prioritize Western Province. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Wacha.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Minister, in responding to one of the follow-up questions, I think it should be from Kabwata or the person that posed a question, Honorable Miyoto. You indicated that Western Province seems to be having problems in the health sector. I got it from you. So through you, Madam Speaker, I would want the Minister to state the reasons. Why is Western Province in the health sector seems to be facing some problems? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for the follow-up question. Madam Speaker, Western Province, when it comes to generally the health sector, it's one of the least developed, followed by Northwestern. So these two provinces, somehow, I don't know what happened, but when you get on the ground, you look at the infrastructure, very old, dilapidated. When you look at human resource, there's hardly anybody there. You send people, the next day, next month, they leave the area. You have people on paper that they are there in their facilities, but they're not there. You look at equipment, not doing so well. So you compare provinces, and you see that Western Province is one such province, and we've taken note. We are going to take deliberate steps to ensure that they catch up. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, the Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 298.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, congratulations to yourself and congratulations to Honorable Jack Mwimbo. Madam Speaker, Mr. Simumba for Nakonde constituency is asking the Minister of Education, A, how many teachers were blacklisted for being in possession of forged Degree 12 certificates countrywide from 2018 to 2021, year by year. B, whether the government has any plans to pardon the affected teachers, especially those that were employed using genuine certificates, but later submitted forged certificates to enhance their chances of promotion. C, if so, when the affected teachers will be pardoned and given a second chance in life. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that A, 83 teachers were blacklisted for being in possession of forged Grade 12 certificates countrywide in 2018. The House may wish to note that no teacher was blacklisted for being in possession of forged Grade 12 certificates countrywide in 2019, 2020, and 2021. B, the government has no intention or no plans to pardon the affected teachers, including those who were employed on genuine certificates but forged certificates while seeking promotion. However, Regulation 3.5.3 of Teacher Registration Government Gazette Notice Number 1203 of 2019 provides for a person whose application has been rejected on the basis of fraudulent qualifications to reapply after being banned and having served the 3-year ban. C, due to the response in Part B, Part C falls off. And D, there are no such plans because it is a serious offense that undermines the trust and integrity of the education system. Forgery involves deceptively altering or falsifying documents, signatures, or other materials in order to deceive others. When a teacher engages in forgery, they are not only breaking the law, but also violating the ethical standards expected of educators. Madam Speaker, forgery can have serious consequences for students, parents, and colleagues who rely on the accuracy and authenticity of the teacher's work. It can also damage the reputation of the school and the education system as a whole. Punishing a teacher for forgery sends a clear message that dishonest and deception will not be tolerated in the classroom. Additionally, holding teachers accountable for their actions helps to maintain the credibility and professionalism of the teaching profession. It is important for educators to uphold high ethical standards and act with integrity in order to provide a safe and supportive learning environment for students. Therefore, punishing a teacher for forgery serves as a deterrent to others who may be tempted to engage in similar misconduct. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, the affected teachers, I'm sure by now they have repented, because that happened in 2018. And Madam Speaker, even government sometimes pardons some murderers, also some people who have stolen other items. They pardon them when they see that they have repented. And Madam Speaker, you may wish to know that even these affected teachers, they have got families that they need to look after. Honorable Minister, looking at the submission that I've made, that I'm sure these teachers that have repented, why can't we pardon them as government so that they can continue enjoying the right that others are enjoying? Madam Speaker, I submit.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
I'm not quite sure what the MP is. You saw them repenting. I'm not quite sure, yes, because only Jesus would know that one has repented. So unless you are really saying that you checked on them and you saw the repentance. In any case, I said, after they have served 3 years, they can reapply. But it depends on the employer himself or herself to check whether this person has repented or not. I'm going to using now your word, repentance. This is a serious issue that I can tell you. You can damage a country if you are employing people who can forge a certificate. And if these things were happening, they must stop. And we are going to check and follow everybody. School systems become damaged. If you yourself, first of all, they had gotten genuine certificates. On the way for promotion, they go and get fraudulent certificates. You forge, you go and do all that. No one is going to allow anybody. First of all, you are assessed. MP, you have got no capacity to assess whether somebody has repented or not. So if they were coming to kneel before you to say that, forgive us, it's a different ballgame. Yes, people are pardoned. Those who were doing what they are put on parole and assessed. So unless you tell me that you are assessing them yourself, and you have got no capacity to do that, that I can tell you, and I can assure you. So we do not want, in the first place, the people who are dishonest are the ones who eventually become murderers anyway. So if our school system is going to be teaching people on how to do such things, no, I would not be on that. But there is a moratorium of after 3 years you can apply, and you'll be assessed. If the employer said, I don't like you, and it is no excuse to say that they've got families. So why didn't you respect yourself? Why didn't you become honest in the first place in order for you to continue with your family? So for you to increase your salary, you want to go and become dishonest, to become deceitful. I know in the environment anywhere people do all such things, but there must be rules and laws to follow. In any case, they were only bad. They should have actually faced the law. They should have faced the law. They offended the law in the first place. Not the law of the school system, the law of the land. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Chirubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That's childish. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Minister has talked about ethics in recruitment, and I know that some of them that would have been recruited did not follow those ethics that is referring to. Recently, the Honorable Minister is on record of having talked and defended the teachers that were recruited recently who did not have the grade 12 results. Some of them were lacking, were coming from schools that are forbidden by the Ministry of Education. And many other irregularities were indicated. And the minister is on record of having admitted that such irregularities had happened. Now, if the question is really ethics that we are talking about, we seem to apply double standards to those that were recruited between 2018 to 2021, because the same measure would have been emphasized even for the others, because if the minister is really passionate about the standard of teachers that are going to go into our classroom, then it should apply that even these who are lacking documents, it should affect them. So I don't know what the minister's statement is on those teachers that we are fined with not having grade 12 certificates, some of them being recruited from schools that are forbidden by government, especially the Ministry of Education. What is your stance on that one?
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Although you have diverted from the question itself, but I will answer you. At no time had I said, these teachers, you have asked a question and then you are still talking. Then I won't answer your question.
Order, honorable members, let's listen to the answers so that we don't repeat the same questions.
At no point did I say, if you have a forged certificate, you are going to go through it. I said at that time, if we find you in any situation, yes, you could have lapses here and there. If we find you, we shall deal with you. That's what I said. But on this one, since you have diverted me, let me just educate you a little bit. Even when we are talking about this replacement fees, we said, bring your original certificate at National Science Center. Those who realized that we had put ECZ there, they ran away. They never came to collect their letters. Up to today, they've run away. Why? It's because of this stringent measure that we have put in place. If you know anybody who actually did that, come to the office or go to the police station. That I'm not going to relent. The school system must be clean and sure clean. If you have anybody that you see that they do not have a what, in any case, Madam Speaker, the system that we have actually put in place is that if your name pops up, and this is how we are trying to do with the dishonest people. In 2022, when we were recruiting 30,000, because we don't bring them on one to interview them, we said we have put in the system. And one catch was about being dishonest. How do we detect honestness? It was a simple thing. Do not apply twice. Some people were applying in Ndola, then they go and apply in Livingston or Kansas. Each time that we put your name there and your NRC, it will pop that you have applied twice. Even if you have a qualification, we'll chase you. You are a dishonest person. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Nakonde.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Madam Speaker, recently government employed some teachers who didn't have grade 12 certificates, and they were told to go and rewrite, and they were not fired. We want to find out what I say, Sanam.
Order, Honorable Member for Nakonde. Can you stick to your question? Your question is in relation to the period 2018 to 2021. So restrict yourself. But if you have any other questions,
yes, Madam Speaker, I wanted to find out, because the very lenience that was used for those who were found not to have grade 12 certificates, and they were told to go and write, why can't they use the same lenience to those who were, when getting employed, they used the genuine grade 12 certificates? Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
I'm sure you will not put that on me. I never told anybody to go and write. Unless previously, I don't know. If you are talking about when I've been at the helm of this institution or education system unless somebody else and not me. I would never do that myself. If you have got anybody who was told like that, go and tell them. If I check that they don't have a grade 12 certificate, I was just told go and rewrite. I don't do that myself. And you know very well that the two occasions that we have got, I never told anybody, go and write, not me. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Sanzana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Minister, for your answer. I just wanted to, Madam Speaker, through you, that your committee.
All the honorable members, they are Honorable Member from Mukushi North. Oh, Mukushi South, sorry, Mukushi South, please. Sorry, Honorable Member from Mukushi North. It's the Mukushi South, actually, which I meant. May the Honorable Member from Cesar continue.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, through you, your committee, in one of the interrogation with the Ministry of Education, there was an issue which came out where the PS admitted to say, yes, there were some errors in employing these teachers. Some of them didn't have right qualification, and they were told to go and rewrite, and a period was given. Now, I want to find out from you, Madam Speaker, through you, Madam Speaker, to the Minister, what punishment is given to those who employed people without proper qualification? Because you can't punish someone, the other person, you leave them scot-free. What punishment are you giving to those who employed unqualified teachers without certificate? I submit. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
I have argued with you here. I have said unless elsewhere, not in my realm. So if there was that case, then I will have to follow up if those people who are employing those are still there. Because now I cannot just say it is me. Somebody will be caught up, eh? That I can tell. Somebody will be caught up.
The Honorable Member for Chengi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, your ministry is responsible for employing these teachers, 30,000 teachers. And now I want to find out what criteria have you been using? Because there is no way you can employ anyone without checking their background and verifying their documents. How come this was only, discovered thereafter? What happens? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
I'm not quite sure how they were doing it. But as for me, I'm doing something else. Thank you.
Honorable Member from Pika, you have a point of order. What's the point of order?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I have always tried to remain silent in the House. Madam Speaker, I rise on a very serious point of order, citing Standing Order number 204F. The Honorable Minister of Sports and Youth, when the Honorable MP for Chiengi was asking a very important question, he responded that the teachers were employed by WUKA, and even said the same thing in WUKA. Madam Speaker, is in order to mislead this House that WUKA has employed some teachers. Madam Speaker, I seek your very serious ruling on this matter. Thank you.
First of all, I don't know who WUKA is. Okay, so honorable members, please, the rules are very clear. The rule that honorable member from PICA has referred to is 204F. 2F. A member shall observe the following rules of parliamentary etiquette. F. A member shall not interrupt another member holding the floor by making noise or other disorderly expressions. I have referred to this standing order on several occasions, and just before that remark was made, I even referred to the honorable member for Mukushi South. So, honorable members, please let's not interrupt while the one member is on the floor, and then we make running commentaries, we make comments. If that was said, the honorable minister was out of order. May we continue? So where were we now? The honorable minister was supposed to answer. What was the question now? Who was asking the question? The minister has answered? Okay, thank you. The next one is the honorable member for Pemba.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and I take this opportunity to congratulate you and the Honorable Minister, Honorable Jack Mwimbu. Honorable Minister of Education, I wish to appreciate that you are standing firm on the issue of a forged certificate. But now my question is, those who were caught with forged certificates, they were blacklisted for 3 years. Now, would you consider in the near future, should we catch other members with the forged certificate to have them prosecuted? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister for Education.
Yes, as I had said earlier on, Madam Speaker, that this is an offense against the law. But it depends on one who is actually looking at it, whether they will do that penalty, because they already have a penalty of banning them for 3 years. So if at that time they decided we are banning them for 3 years, it is those who thought like that. But as I stand here myself, anybody who is dishonest and deceitful and offending the law, they must face the law itself. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, allow the people of Kankoyo to congratulate you for being a state council today. You still remain an inspiration to the women folks in our country. And also to Uncle Jack Mwimbu, he remains an inspiration to the young politicians like me. So many congratulations for your deserved recognitions. Madam Speaker, in 2018, I was at a rugby club where there was a declaration to say all teachers on acting positions are employed permanently by the government. Hence, the issuance of these letters, which went to close to 3,000 across the country, to a permanent position. This is the recruitment which we are talking about, which came through a pronouncement from a party official at a rugby club during the Teachers' Day function. So I want to thank, first of all, the Minister of Education. Out of the 3,500, 2,600 have been officially recruited, though we still have 149 not yet on this list. So I want to take opportunity of this. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to appeal to the minister that, despite all the efforts we've done, we still have 149 not yet recruited who had genuine qualification. So my question is, are we going to see again another time when recruitments will be done at a club through a party official, make a pronouncement, and create such a confusion, which we're still trying to resolve today? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister, I don't know if you've gotten the question.
Somehow, I think, we are not going to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Member for Pambashe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to appeal to the Minister that we are posing a question to the Ministry. I know the Minister, I know he may not be aware, but Madam Speaker, to bring the practical examples home.
the Manyinga district is one of the victims for current recruitment of purported fake teachers with fake qualifications. And your PS in charge of technical services appeared in parliamentary committee and confirmed and said we've given them a liberty to rewrite and present.
Order, Honorable Member for Pambashe. A matter that is before a committee cannot be brought informally to the plenary, to the House. So let's wait for that report to come to the House in a formal manner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Ask your question.
Minister, bearing in mind that PS Northwestern was at paid to control our party officials in Northwestern over the fake qualifications of teachers in Manying, are you likely to take action to check whether it is true we have teachers who have been recruited with fake qualification in Manyinga district of Northwestern Province? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I don't think that he is speaking.
Order, Honorable Member there at the back, my Member of Parliament for Mongo Central, please restrain yourself. May the Honorable Minister continue.
I don't think that he is speaking in the officious manner, because the things that I saw about Manyinga are different issues altogether. In the recent recruitment, I didn't see that. I saw it's just something else. So this is why I'm saying that he's not speaking with authority. What I saw myself and my colleague here, I asked him from Northwestern Province with the minister there, and he explained to me and how they resolved that issue. It was nothing closer to what the member for Pambashi is talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Mbavala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 299. Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member from Balbala is asking sorry, many papers here. The Honourable Member of Parliament from Babala, Mr. Musanje, is asking the Minister of Health when the maternity wings at the following health centres in Babala parliamentary constituency will be operationalized: A, in Nalubi, in Chilalantambo Ward, and Kabanze, in Kabanze Mayobo Ward. Our response, Madam Speaker, is let me start by informing the House that Nalube and Kabanze are not health centers, but they are health posts in Babala parliamentary constituency. In addition, allow me to thank the people of Babala parliamentary constituency for prioritizing the construction of maternity annexes using CDF at the 2 health posts in line with the presidential directive. Madam Speaker, the 2 maternity annexes will be operationalized as soon as water and power is made available. The House may wish to note that guidance has already been provided to the local authority to include the provision of water and energy sources whenever CDF is used to construct health facilities or maternity annexes. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much. Supplementary questions? The Honourable Member from Bavala.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Indeed, the 2 maternity wings are very crucial to the reduction of maternal mortality and other childhood-related matters of motherhood, especially that we're in the month of celebrating women. Madam Speaker, would the Minister allow the 2 maternity wings to be opened with solar power, as well as using the ordinary boreholes that we have on site as we wait for the construction of water tanks so that we can quickly enhance the provision of services to the people of Kabanze, Mayobo, and surrounding communities, as well as the people of Narobe in Chirantambo.
Order. As the time is 16:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes for a health break.
You are still watching Parliament Television, and the House has gone on a 20-minute health break. And just before the break, we had the Mbabala Member of Parliament, Mr. Musanje, who posed a question to the Minister of Health on when the maternity wings in the following health centers in Mbabala constituency will be operationalized. And these are Naluve and Chiralantambo Ward, and B Kabanze and Kabanze to Mayova Ward. So we expect the House to continue considering this question when business resumes at 17 hours.
And when business resumed at 14:30 hours, Madam Speaker did permit Honorable Jack Mwimbu MP, Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security, to render a ministerial statement. This was to update the nation on the review of firearms and licensing in Zambia. After that ministerial statement, the House went on to consider 6 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 74. And so we'll be able to share with you the details of the ministerial statement and the questions for oral answer later on. For now, we go on a break. Remember, business of the House will resume at 17 hours. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good afternoon.
I, Nelly Butete Kashumba Muti, having been granted by the President of the Republic of Zambia by letters patent the dignity of State Council, do hereby declare that I will, when called upon to do so, as one of the Council learned in the law, truly serve the State in its matters, that I will preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of Zambia as by law established. And I would faithfully represent to the best of my ability, without fear or favor of any person, all those who shall entrust me to represent them before any court of law. So help me God.
Thank you very much. We'll proceed with the oath of allegiance. Again, please raise your right hand as you take the oath.
I, Nelly Butete Kashumba Muti, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the President of the Republic of Zambia, and that I will preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of Zambia as by law established. So help me God.
Thank you very much.
It is my duty, first and foremost, on behalf of the government, the people of Zambia, to congratulate these dignified Zambians, citizens of our lovely country, Zambia, for your appointments, your elevation to your specific roles that you have assumed following this swearing in today. Let me start with the 5, the state councils, the 5 state councils that we've sworn in today. State Council Muti, State Council Mwimbu, State Council Zalomis, State Council Dudia, State Council Sakala Chibia. This is what every young lawyer wants to end up with when they study law at UNZA or elsewhere in the country or across the world. They get admitted to the bar, they work hard, and one of their ambitions is to become State Council, as the Queen's Council, now the King's Council in the UK. I'm drawing that parallel Commonwealth relationship. So you have basically reached a level which lawyers aspire to reach. other things based on what you've done in the legal profession or around legal issues. So today marks a pivotal moment for us as a nation where justice, there's rule of law first, rule of law, justice must prevail in our society. Orderliness, just general orderliness. I know Zambians, and I don't agree with this assertion, are said to forget easily. The chaos that was obtained in just 2 years, 7 months, 8 months ago, we seem to have already forgotten about it. But what you five have assumed today makes you carry a special responsibility. In addition to your ordinary responsibilities in your roles in the legal profession, today you carry an additional responsibility. And as I say to many Zambians, responsibility comes with accountability, a burden to carry that responsibility diligently, to be able to assist the country to maintain this orderliness, to assist the country to dispense justice, as we always say, timely, fairly, with compassion as state councils. But also automatically you become teachers. You become role models to the young colleagues in the legal profession, including the bench. That's true. Young magistrates, young judges, as it were. But learning is not restricted to young people. All of us learn from one another. So you carry that burden, and we have trust and belief in you. The system has a trust and belief in you.
In a powerful display of unity and sportsmanship, members of parliament and diplomats accredited to Zambia recently battled it out on the football field to display their football skills in a corporate social football match. The event, which took place at the Lusaka Showgrounds on Saturday, 1st March 2024, was themed Kick Out Dangers of Climate Change, using sports and awareness for sustainable development for all. During the start of the Zambezi River Indaba and Expo social football match between members of parliament and diplomats accredited to Zambia, the tree planting ceremony was done and dusted to signify the commitments to stop climate change and burning of trees for charcoal. Speaking at the corporate social football match, Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honorable Madam Nelly Muti MP FAPRA, said despite the challenges of climate change and river protection being vast, there is need to work together with determination.
As you are aware, our planet is facing an existential threat as evidenced by extreme weather events such as hurricanes, droughts and floods, which have become more intense and frequent in the recent years. These events have long-term consequences affecting agriculture, water resources, and pose significant dangers to our environment, economies, and societies. From the extreme weather and evident lack of rains this year in our country, it is clear that climate change is no longer a distant threat. It is now home, impacting our lives and the very foundation of our existence, including food security, health and biodiversity. The revelation that the country has lost 1 million hectares of maize is testament to the fact that climate change is real and we need to be practical in combating the effects. It is imperative, therefore, that we support initiatives such as this one organized by African Rivers so that we collectively address climate change, whose effects have the potential to reverse our current socio-economic gains. Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, amidst the cheers and solidarity of football we shall be witnessing today, let us not forget that we are gathered here united for a cause greater than the game of football itself. We stand here not just as athletes and supporters, but as advocates for a healthy planet and stewards of the future we want. I must commend African Rivers for choosing the beautiful game of football as a tool to galvanize all of us gathered here for climate action.
Minister of Youth, Sports and Arts, Honorable Elvis Nkandu MP, said athletes and sports organizations have an incredible platform to raise awareness about climate change and advocate for sustainable practices.
Today, as we come together to enjoy the thrill of competition, let us also take a moment to reflect on the correlation of sports and the environment. And I believe that climate change undoubtedly is one of the greatest challenges of our time. And while sports may seem like a world away from environmental issues, they are in fact deeply intertwined. Indeed, as evidenced by what has been happening to us as a country and what we've experienced, it's just important that we really put more effort in combating climate change. Obviously, athletes, sports teams, and sports organizations have an incredible platform to raise awareness about climate change and advocate for sustainable practices. By promoting eco-friendly stadiums and venues, the sports community has the power to make a positive impact on the environment. So as we embark on this exciting journey of sportsmanship, let us remember the importance of preserving our planet for future generations. Let us be champions not only on the field, but also in the fight against climate change.
Technical Advisor African Rivers Dr. Kelvin Kamayoyo expressed gratitude that the corporate social football match took place given its nature, scope and relevance.
The corporate social football match, which we are witnessing here today, is being held under the theme, pick out the leaders of climate change, youth sport and awareness for sustainable development in Africa. The purpose of hosting this event is to leverage on the inherent positive social impact that the game of football had on uniting people, building together, and transforming lives for a better shared future. Today, we have achieved this by bringing different stakeholders together to exchange ideas, share knowledge of climate change, climate change, which have just witnessed, and also build capable long-term mutually beneficial networks.
The match kicked off at 15 hours with National Assembly of Zambia wearing a colorful green jersey and diplomats with a white jersey. 5 minutes into play, the diplomats found their way into the back of the net, a goal which was scored by striker number 29. Before the parliamentarians could get an opportunity to equalize, the diplomats found themselves at the back of the net once again, making it 2-0.
They are coming back and diplomat too. Let's see what's happening. Okay, here now goes the diplomat pushes, tries to dribble 2 men, shoots it
In the 20th minute of the game, the Member of Parliament for Petauke Central, Mr. Emmanuel J. Banda, scored for the parliamentarians. At halftime, the match pegged a 3-2 in favor of the diplomats. The whistle for the second half was blown at exactly 16 hours, Second half was characterized by fouls, corners and substitution of players, as we did not see any goals from both sides. After 90 minutes of action, the final whistle was blown and the match ended 3-2 in favor of the Diplomats. The corporate social football match not only showcased the sporting talent of members of parliament and diplomats, but also highlighted the importance of collaboration and teamwork in achieving common objectives.
President Hakainde Hichilema will on Friday, 15th March 2024, address the nation on Parliament radio and television on the progress made in the application of national values and principles. Make a date on Friday, 15th March at 10 hours. Break. Business is expected to resume at 17 hours, and just before the break we had a follow-up question coming from Mbabala Member of Parliament Mr. Musanje. He was making a follow-up question to his question that he had posed to the Minister of Health when maternity wings at the following health centers in Mbabala Parliamentary constituency will be operationalized, and these are Naluve in Chiralantambo Ward and Kabanze in Kabanze Mayova Ward. We expect business of the House to continue when they start sitting at 17 hours.
The House has so far considered, on the order paper, so far considered 6 questions for oral answer under Standing Order 74, and still to come we expect the House to consider 5 more questions. We expect question number 300 to come from Chitambo Member of Parliament, Mr. Remember Mutale, who is posing his question to the Minister of Education. He wants to find out when the government will confirm teachers in Chitambo district who have been enacting positions beyond the prescribed period of time. And in part B of the question, the Member of Parliament for Chitambo wants to find out when the government will adjust salaries for teachers who have attained higher qualifications in the district.
We also have a question coming from Pika Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Francis Kapianga, and he's directed his question to the Minister of Transport and Logistics. He wants to know whether government will issue the title deeds to beneficiaries of the Presidential Housing Empowerment Program who bought houses from Tanzania Zambia Railways Authority Tazara in Mpika district. And the second part of the question, he wants to know what has caused the delay in issuing the title deeds and how many houses were earmarked for titling, and also what modalities will be applied to the issuance of title deeds, and if there are no such plans, why.
Another question is expected to come from Kalabo Central Member of Parliament, Mr. Chinga Miyutu. He is directing his question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. He wants to find out how many veterinary camps there were in Kalao district as of December 2023. In part B, whether there are any plans to establish more veterinary camps in the district. In part C, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and if there are no such plans, why.
And Kanchivia Member of Parliament, Mr. Sande Chanda, wants to find out from the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security whether government has any plans to procure computers and provide internet connectivity to police stations countrywide, and if so, when the plans will be implemented and what the estimated cost of the project is, and if there are no plans, why.
Question number 304 is expected to come from Chitambo Member of Parliament, Mr. Remember Mutale. He's directing his question to the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. He wants to find out whether the government is aware that fishing camps in the following wards along the banks of the Duopura River in Chitambo parliamentary constituency were destroyed by officers from the Zambia Police Service and the Department of National Parks and Wildlife. That's Katonga and Lulimala. And in part B, the Member of Parliament for Chitambo wants to find out, if so, why the camps were destroyed, and in part C, what measures are being taken to ensure that the affected fishermen do not become destitute after losing their source of livelihood. And so just now, we take you to the chamber. Good afternoon.
Mr. Speaker.
When business was suspended, the House was considering question number 299 on the order paper asked by the Honorable Member from Mbabala, and the Honorable Member from Mbabala had just finished asking a supplementary question. May the Honorable Minister of Health respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before we broke off for tea break, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Mbabala had asked the Minister of Health whether or when the maternity wings at the following health centers in Mbabala parliamentary constituency will be operationalized. And at that point, after I answered, the Member of Parliament had asked a supplementary question, and I would seek the indulgence of the Speaker that the Honourable Member from Mbabala can ask the follow-up question. Thank you.
The Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much, Honourable Minister, for that response. My follow-up question, Honourable Minister of Health, was that as the Mbabala community, we have done our best, as indicated by yourself also, in your thanks to us, to our work, in meeting the ministry towards reducing maternal mortality and other related motherhood issues as we celebrate this month of the woman. Honourable Minister, we wish to have the maternity wings operated or opened even without running water inside, because we do have water within the vicinity of these facilities. We do have water within the vicinity of these facilities, and then we can also put solar power. Would you be kind enough to ensure that these facilities are operationalized in order to reduce maternal mortality in these underserved societies in Mbabala constituency? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable, for the follow-up question. We have indicated to the Ministry of Local Government on the minimum requirements for us to operationalize maternity annexes. And water is very important. Maybe solar power can come next. But water is a must because, as you know, giving birth requires cleanness as you do the operations. So We cannot have a situation where you are getting water from some place and being brought into the hospital or into the facility. So maybe what we can do, the honorable member can come to the office and let's see whether we can support each other. I know that it is possible that maybe the resources that could have been allocated for the clinic by the CDF may have run out. So if they are able to do the solar, as they say, and they only have, if they are able to sink a borehole, but they're not able to connect the water to the clinic, maybe we could consider doing that as Minister of Health. And because that is important. Otherwise, we'll set a wrong precedence where everybody will just put up a structure and say, can you operationalize the annexure? Water is very important. Of course, electrification is also important, but water comes first. We need to have good supply of water to a maternity for us to conduct a surgery or to deliver a baby in an environment that is acceptable. Thank you.
The Honourable Member from Mbawala.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much, Honourable Minister, for that answer. Definitely, we will make an appointment to come and have a chat with you and look forward to your support. Maybe the final, Honourable Minister, is the issue of equipment, to which we rely on your ministry to give us at least the minimum equipment that, or to deliver minimum equipment that can help these maternity wings to become operational. And my question is, are you able to supplement us with the minimum equipment for these maternity wings to operate at Kabanze as well as at Narube, as we work on the issue of making sure that they are operationalized and as per presidential directive to have a maternity annex at every health post and health center.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable, for your follow-up question. I think that, Mr. Speaker, we have an issue that we shall need to resolve working together. This is the issue of the usage of CDF as regards, first of all, the presidential directive, but also the fact that many MPs have been generous enough to put up health facilities in their constituencies. We have now a situation where over 156 health centers, health posts in particular, and more maternity annexes that have been constructed under CDF. And CDF is public resources, it's government money. And I myself, as Minister of Health, am getting consent, and I thought that this matter must be dealt with very, very soon, and we must all be very clear. The Minister of Health wrote to the Minister of Local Government to advise that all constructions, if you're constructing a health post or if you're constructing a health center, what kind of structure to put up. But in that directive or guidance, we did indicate the need for water supply, because remember, the President has directed flushable toilets. Secondly, we also did indicate the issue of ensuring that the hospitals or the facilities are lighted up with some form of electricity, be it if you're near a grid, or if you're far away, then you can use other forms of electricity. What we have seen of late is that we have a very big number of facilities, health posts, annexes or health centers that have since been constructed by members of parliament using CDF, including myself as a member of parliament in Chongwe. I've also done that. And last week I was actually having a conversation with my team that we need to give further guidance, because if we don't do that, we'll be wasting resources by tying resources where a number of MPs have done well to construct these health posts, but they're not operationalized. Now, if you spend money to build, to expand, and do anything, but that which you have spent money on is not being operationalized, then it comes to nil, like you have done nothing. And we in the Ministry of Health thinks that is very unfair. And so hopefully, by God's grace, next week we'll come here to issue a ministerial statement and guidance on how we are going to proceed this year for the 2024 budget. And we want to see how resources that are under the Ministry of Health, under construction or infrastructure, how we can realign that resource and see that we agree with our colleagues to ensure that maybe every district or every constituency, maybe we do one per every constituency we support, so that we can operationalize. Because you have a situation where in a constituency 2 years down the lane, a clinic has been done, but it's not functioning because either there's no equipment or there's no house for staff, or there's no electrification, and all these things were said that they should be done. The question is, what is the problem? Why are we not able to construct a health post with a house that has electricity of any form and that has water, which is running? We need to come to some quick agreements on this matter so that we don't lose resources, because like I said, the resources that are under Ministry of Health and the resources under CDF are one, they're all government resources. So we want to find a quick solution so that this year we should see a number of these health facilities and especially maternity annexes to be operationalized. And it is for that reason why I've asked the MP who has specifically asked this question to come through, and through him we can find a solution for all the others who have not asked the question but have a similar challenge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next question, the Honourable Member for Chitambo.
Question number 300.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Mtare of Chitambo constituency is asking the Minister of Education, A, when the government will confirm teachers in Chitambo district who have been enacting positions beyond the prescribed period of time, and B, when the government will adjust salaries for teachers who have attained higher qualifications in the district. Mr. Speaker, I wish to inform the House that A, the government has been confirming teachers enacting positions beyond the prescribed period in Chitambo and other districts countrywide. The House may wish to note that confirmation of teachers is an ongoing process which the government, through the Ministry of Education, has been implementing whenever positions for vacant or are created. Therefore, the government shall continue to confirm teachers who have acted beyond the prescribed period as and when positions are made available. And then B, through the Ministry of Education, the government has been adjusting salaries for eligible teachers who have attained higher qualifications in the district. The House may also wish to note that salary adjustment or promotion requires not only the attainment of the qualification, but also an assessment of the individual performance, competences, conduct, experience, and availability of a funded position. Adjusting salaries and or promoting eligible teachers with higher qualifications is ongoing. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Member for Chitambo.
Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to know the prescribed period for confirming a teacher.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
I thought my friend knew. That's why I asked the question. It's 3 months, Mr. Speaker.
Next question, the Honorable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Question number 301.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member from Pika to ask the Minister of Transport and Logistics a 5-part question. A, when the government will issue title deeds to beneficiaries of the Presidential Housing Empowerment Program who bought houses from Tazara in Impika district. B, what the cause of the delay in issuing the titles is. C, how many houses are earmarked for titling. D, what modalities will be applied in the issuance of the title deeds. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, in E, if there are no such plans, why? In response to the question raised by the Honourable Member of Parliament from Pika Parliamentary Constituency, I wish to inform this August House as follows. A, government will issue title deeds to Tazara workers who benefited from the Presidential Housing Empowerment Program once Tazara completes the process of obtaining title deeds for its parcels of land, including the land in residential areas. B, the delay is due to the fact that Tazara has not yet obtained title for residual area land. Due to the high levels of encroachment, Tazara decided to obtain first title deeds for the primary pieces of land, major centers that were at high risk. It is worth noting that inadequate resources have also caused delays in the processing of title deeds. For the House, in Impika alone, the authority requires approximately 8,060,000 kwacha to complete the titling project. C, the total number of houses earmarked for titling in Impika is 806 houses. D, once Tazara obtains title for the residential areas and completes the subdivisions, all beneficiaries issued with letters of offer will be issued with title deeds after completing all processes and paying all specified fees. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, as stated above in A, government will issue title deeds to all beneficiaries once title deeds are obtained for the residential areas. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Supplementary questions. The Honourable Member for Shuangando.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, the security of tenure for any property is a title deed. And we know that most of these families are vulnerable families. You have mentioned the figure of 8 million. We don't know what it is because Tazara spans from Nakonde up to Kapiri. If it's a question of resources, are you considering requesting families who are willing to contribute a little bit of money so that they can have their title deeds processed in good time? Because it would appear that you want to do maybe a group title approach where the Tazara will get the title and then subdivide. So are you considering requesting some of the people affected to contribute something so that this can be done expeditiously so that they can have security of tenure over the properties that have been offered to them after working for some time for this Tazara rail? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And obviously thank you to the Honourable Member for that supplementary question. And perhaps just to begin by saying that as an administration, we do sympathize with these families that, yes, indeed, have been subjected to such a lengthy delay before such a process may be concluded. But however, you must appreciate that there are no such shortcuts in these processes. I think that the due process must be followed, in which these very, very important parcels of railway Tazara land must be, properly taken into consideration for a holistic demarcation as well as a subdivision before then we can mark off these specified parcels of land to the families that had already been issued with letters of offer. Suffice to say that it would be immoral for us to subject the already distressed families with further requests of contribution to this due process. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for that statement. Honourable Minister, just 2 weeks ago, there was an announcement that government was almost succeeding with a partnership deal between Zambia and China for Tazara. Have you considered putting this issue in the same deal so that it's sorted out once and for all without overburdening the institution? Thank you so much, Madam Mr. Chairperson.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the Honourable Member for that follow-up question. Yes, indeed, there is significant progress being made with a potential concessionaire partner in the operationalization as remodeling of the Tazara. I think that the issue in question, as far as Tazara assets are concerned, are things which will not be affected by these particular concessions. As much as possible, we want to ensure that no Zambian worker, past and present, will be disenfranchised by this potential concession that we're working on with our Chinese partners. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
The Honourable Member for Lubasenshi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Honourable Minister, the people of Mpika, especially those who bought those houses, anxiously looking for getting the title deeds. And this Republic of Zambia is implementing what we call national titling, and apparently there is what we call systematic titling program, and we have also another system called the sporadic system, which is the usual one. Now, with the systematic titling program, is faster in terms of providing these titles to the citizens of this country, including the people of Mpika. Mr. Honourable Minister, are you considering and advising our people in Mpika that they can take advantage of the systematic titling program so that quickly they can be able to get this title deeds? I submit to you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for that question. Suffice to say, Mr. Speaker, that obviously the issue in question is a multi-sectoral issue that now will border into operations of what the Ministry of Lands is doing generally insofar as auditing of parcels of land in this country is concerned. And I think that that is outside the ambit of this particular question before this August House. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member from Pika.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, Mr. Speaker, Mpika was the regional headquarters for Tazara. And the Tazara compound which comprises of Shanghai, Depo, and other areas, is full of retirees, Tazara retirees, including these sitting tenants who were given these houses, are retirees. May I find out from the Honorable Minister of Transport what measures government will immediately put in place to avert a situation where some members of the public, maybe from there, could start going around and start collecting money from these surviving retirees, because there is information on the ground that they were asked to pay 1,500 kwacha each for surveying and other requirements. But from what the minister said, it would be very immoral if such took place, which I appreciate very much. But what measures will be put in place to avoid such a situation? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Mr. Speaker, thank you to the Honourable Member for that question. There is no other measure that can be taken apart from the very public statements that we continue to pronounce on what government plans are insofar as the future of Tazara is concerned. Suffice to also add that this is a matter that has been on the table for many, many administrations in the past. It is this administration that would like to sort out the backlog of these many issues that have been compounding and challenging our citizens out there, from settlement of retirement packages to settlement of salary arrears. Indeed, we are focused that even the issue of title issuance shall be dealt with under my watch in this administration. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Lukasha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to ask a follow-up question. I don't take this for granted. Honourable Minister, considering the precarious position financially in which Tazara finds itself, have you considered the possibility of engaging the Ministry of Lands to agree maybe a reduced costing of doing this work, so that maybe this work can be expedited? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to the Honourable Member. Just to say that everything possible is being done to ensure that this matter is brought to its logical conclusion. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
The Honourable Member for Chilubi.
I don't expect that from you, really. Minister, what a caliber. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, can excuse me that I was just doubting the caliber of person. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask a question from the Minister. Whether government would consider, given the profile that many of these are retirees, and we know that the lifespan in Zambia, I think that's slightly around 55, meaning that any time some of these may be answering the call from God to go and rest, meaning they may die. Is government putting in measures to transfer, especially for the sake of security of tenure, to transfer the offer to the next of kings? Because from the explanation that the minister gave, it sounded like the money that has to be found, which is 8 million, is not within sight, and it may take longer. And we know that nature may have a toll on the retirees, such that some of them would die and leave the situation of their property in that situation, such that there will be need that title, which would be given, is transferred maybe to the next of kin, so that it becomes family property. Is government putting in such measures for those that may be gone by the time the money will be found?
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Contrary to what the honourable member says about, obviously resources for this particular process being nowhere in sight, I wish to state that there is already a lot of progress that has been made, especially insofar as the marking off of the major pieces of land is concerned. Just for your information that in Mpika, for instance, 3 title deeds have already been obtained for Mpika, 1 for the train stations, including the Mpika workshops, 1 for Tazara Training College, and the other for the sewer plant, which is separated by the river. In Kasama, Kasama has 2 title deeds already offered, 1 for the train station and another for the sewer plant across the main road. Kapirimposhi has a similar profile with 2 title deeds offered, 1 for the train station and another for the dry port. In Mkushi, works at Mkushi to obtain the title deeds are very, very advanced. And it is indeed not far-fetched that because of this matter having stalled for many, many years, and we do know that these retirees and their families remain the occupants of these particular houses, and therefore, yes, indeed, it would be prudent that the offer, even when in the case of a former worker who has since passed on, could be passed on to the next of kin. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next question, the Honourable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 302.
The Honourable Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development is the Acting Minister of Fisheries and Livestock. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Kalabo Central, Honourable Mewtu, is asking the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock the following questions. A, how many veterinary camps there were in Kalabo district as of December 2023? B, whether there are any plans to establish more veterinary camps in the district? C, if so, when the plans will be implemented? And D, if there are no such plans, why? And the answer is as follows, Mr. Speaker. Answer to question A. The Augusta House may wish to note that as of December 2023, Kalabo district was divided into 11 veterinary camps, namely Kalabo Central, Kuli, Livonda, Mapungu, Ngombe, Ndoka, Nguma, Sihole, Suluwe, Shekanu, and the Yuka. B, with decentralization coming into effect, plans are to align veterinary camps to the wards in the district. This will witness an increase of the veterinary camps from 11 to 17. This is just a start. C, the aligning of veterinary camps to wards will be implemented in 2024. This is in line with the devolution of some veterinary functions to the local authority. So therefore, in view of C above, D falls off. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the vastness of Kalabo district, is the government convinced that by expanding from 11 to 17, it will be sufficiently covered to enable the farmers be serviced by the extension officer as well? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Kalabo district which has Lioa constituency and Kalabo constituency, is indeed vast. But what I said in the answer was that this devolution or decentralization is ultimately going to result in every ward having a veterinary camp. Now, the 17 that are mentioned here, as I say, as of now, there are 11. The first stage, they'll move to 17. Now, I've taken advantage of the Honorable Minister of Finance, who is also from the area, to try to estimate roughly how many wards in Kalabo district. Now, I know that there are more than 17. So when all the wards are covered, which is more than 17, I think by and large, the cover will be adequate to ensure that these services are available to as many of our livestock farmers as possible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next question. The Honourable Member for Kanchibia.
Question 303, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honourable Sunday Chanda, Member of Parliament for Kanchibia constituency, asked the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security the following questions. A, whether the government has any plans to procure computers equipped with internet for police stations countrywide. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Mr. Speaker, in responding to the questions asked by the Honourable Member, I wish to state as follows. A, the government has started to implement plans to procure computers equipped with internet for all police stations countrywide. B, the implementation of plans to procure computers and internet connectivity for all police stations countrywide commenced in 2011 through the project to modernize the Zambia Police Service. Through this project, a number of computers have been purchased for the divisional headquarters, police district headquarters, police stations, and some police posts. Under the same project, some police establishments have been connected to the internet. Procurement of computers and internet connectivity for the Zambia Police Service are ongoing activities. The implementation of the Public Security Information System Safe City project has led to the procurement of more computers and other ICT equipment for police establishments. Similarly, the project has facilitated the interlinking of a number of police establishments through internet connectivity. C, currently, there are 156 police stations, 31 police districts, and 385 police posts in the country. The estimated cost for the procurement of computers and printers for these establishments is 120,564,000. Targeted offices include Inquiries Office, CID, Stores, Station Inspector, Officer in Charge, Criminal Investigations Officer, Traffic, Victim Support, Operations, and the Armory. Out of the total number of 156 police stations and 385 police posts countrywide, 32 police stations and 2 police posts are connected to internet. The total cost of connecting all the establishments to the internet will be known after conducting a feasibility study of the requirements for all the establishments. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any supplementary question? The Honourable Member for Kanchubia.
Mr. Speaker, thank you, and allow me to thank the Minister for this detailed response. Honourable Speaker, the reason we ask this question is because we are alive to some of the challenges that some of our officers and stations, police stations, encountering or have been encountering. And I think, Honourable Minister, maybe in the same way that the ministry did get the support through the CDF to procure the vehicles, would ask that maybe there could be a provision to fast track some of these processes and ensure that there is connectivity and also access to computers in some of these police stations. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to appreciate and accept the proposal that has been submitted by my colleague, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Kanchubia. I will consult the Honourable Minister of Local Government and see how we can proceed with that proposal.
Thank you, and I hope that will be in 2025 because our money is already tied. Honourable Minister. The Honourable Member for Chiengi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honourable Minister, I think it was last week you spoke of fingerprints. When the fingerprints are lifted, they'll be transferred onto the system on the computer. And wanted to find out what would be happening, like in Chiengi or any other place where they do not have the computers in the meantime. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in police stations where we don't have computers, we are still using the old system of getting fingerprints. But we are actually modernizing through the Safe City project. Very soon, a number of police stations will have computers.
Next question, the Honourable Member for Chitambo.
Question 304.
The Acting Honourable Minister of Fisheries and Livestock.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member for Chitambo, Honourable Remember Mutale, is asking the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock the following questions. A, whether the government is aware that fishing camps in the following wards along the banks of the Luapula River in Chitambo parliamentary constituency were destroyed by officers from the Zambia Police Services and Department of National Parks and Wildlife. That's 1, Katonga Ward, 2, Lulimala Ward. B question is, if so, why the camps were destroyed? And C, what measures are being taken to ensure that the affected fishermen do not become destitute? We answer as follows, Mr. Speaker. A, government is aware that through the District Joint Operations Committee, DGOCS, from Chitambo and the Serenge districts, fishermen from Katonga and the Lulimala were evicted from their illegally established fishing camps following a court order that was issued that the squatters should vacate the illegal settlements which were within the restricted 10-kilometer radius of the Mukuku Bridge, which is within the game management area. B, as indicated in A above, the operation to evict the illegal settlers was following a court order. The House may wish to note that in 2007, the High Court in Mansa issued an order that there be no settlements, human settlements, within the radius of 10 kilometers either side of Mukuku Bridge. This followed an application by the Department of National Parks and Wildlife to preserve the game management area as the inhabitants, fishers, fish traders, and illegal settlers who had settled around the areas were, one, impacting negatively on the government installation, namely the Mukuku Bridge, by digging the embankments of the bridge to create shelters, toilets, as well as drinking water, thereby seriously compromising the safety of the bridge. Two, the legal settlers seriously lacked social amenities such as schools and health services. This was compounded by poor sanitation resulting from lack of toilets and clean drinking water. Three, posed serious threats to wildlife and other endangered animal species in the GMA, as the squatters facilitated a number of illegal activities contrary to the court order. Four, engaging in poaching activities of the black lechwe, statunga, oribis, and other protected wild species in both Kalasamkoso and Kafinda game management areas, respectively. Five, the legal settlers built shelters in wildlife breeding areas and in the process set wire snares to trap game animals. Arising from the above, on 14th May 2023, a joint community sensitization team comprising of officials from the two premises, that's Luapula and Central, visited the squatters at Mukuku Bridge and asked them to leave the premises as per the court order. Further, these squatters were given 30 days ultimatum to freely leave the restricted areas to safer areas like Funsa, Liongolo, and others. C, the livelihood of fishers in the area is not affected. This is because the fishermen or the fishers are allowed to undertake fishing activities in the area during the open fishing season from their established villages. What is not allowed is to establish permanent camps which can eventually turn into legal settlements against the court order that was issued. Mr. Speaker, for those that may wish to know, Mukuku Bridge is famously referred to as Tuta Bridge. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary question? If none, the acting leader of government business adjournment. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that the House do now adjourn.
As no notice of an item for debate on the motion of adjournment on the House has been received, I put the question. The question is that the House do now adjourn. Any debate? Any objection? The question is agreed to. The House is now adjourned.
Concluded, and all business on the order paper concluded. And just now, before we end business for today and our live broadcast, we have a look at what has been discussed on the floor of the House.
When business resumed, Madam Speaker did permit Honorable Jack Mwimbu MP Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security to render a ministerial statement. This was to update the nation on the review of firearms licensing in Zambia. The Minister of Home Affairs has said in the recent past the country has witnessed an alarming rise in instances where firearms have been unlawfully discharged in public and private places. Sadly, in some cases, life has been lost. Rarely has a month gone by without the awful news of unlawful firearm discharge in a home, nightclub, or other public places.